Hey everyone, Dr. Adam here with another weekly wellness video, and this is part 2 of our talk about calcium and calcium supplements. And on this brief video I wanted to go over some of the best sources for getting your calcium through food. As I mentioned in the last video, I think that getting calcium from food is the best way to go about it. You're going to get much more bioavailable types of calcium from your food that your body's going to be able to utilize much more efficiently rather than some cheap synthetic type of calcium supplement. So, where do you start? Now, a lot of people think calcium is going to come from dairy products as far as the best, sources. And while it's true that, dairy products do in general have quite a bit of calcium in them as far as, milk products and those types of things, the typical dairy products you're going to find at the store, like pasteurized milk and cheeses and those types of things, the way that it's processed and the way that it's pasteurized will typically lower the efficient types of calcium as far as, the proteins and things like that will actually get lowered when it comes to pasteurized dairy products. So I typically don't recommend that's where you're going to get your calcium from. If you can get your hands on some raw types of dairy products like raw milk or raw cheeses, which sometimes you can find at places like Whole Foods or maybe even the farmer's market, if you can get that stuff, that's great, and you're going to be able to get a good source. But you also want to be very careful, because if you're sensitive to dairy products, you want to go elsewhere to get the calcium. And some of the best places or best types of foods for that are going to be things like green leafy vegetables. Things like turnip greens, kale, spinach, collard greens, and mustard greens are some of the types of green leafy vegetables that have the highest amount of calcium in them. Now, you can also turn to things, certain spices like basil, oregano, and cinnamon. All will also have quite a bit of calcium in them. So adding those to your diet, or in with salads and those types of things, is a great way to get some more calcium in through your diet. Now, also talking about the dairy products, goat's milk is also another good source of calcium. So if you have the sensitivity to just regular dairy products, goat cheese and goat's milk can also be a nice little alternative if you really like those types of dairy products. Now, another good source, and this is something many of y'all have probably never heard about before, but salt. Salt, good quality salt, can be a very good source of calcium and trace minerals. Now, you want to shoot for specific types of salt. Now, Celtic sea salt, good quality organic brands of Celtic sea salt, are going to have a fair amount of calcium and trace minerals in it. Also, another type of salt, and I just saw this at Whole Foods yesterday, is Himalayan pink salt. Now, both of these are very, you want to shoot for very high quality types of salt. And you don't have to think of salt as, once again, as kind of the bad guy. It's not going to necessarily, good quality pink salt or Celtic sea salt will actually help your body rather than raise your blood pressure or raise cholesterol and those types of things. As long as it's good quality stuff, it's actually going to help your body. And a lot of people end up with deficiencies in salt when their body actually needs it, both for building strong bones, calcium, and trace minerals. So good quality types of salt can also be great sources of calcium and trace minerals. They're going to help your body, build strong bones and muscles. Now, in addition to, once again, we talked a little bit about how, calcium isn't the magic bullet. You need other things to go along with the calcium to both, prevent osteoporosis and build strong bones. So as far as other types of things you want to look for, we mentioned vitamin D and vitamin K2 also. Typically I'll recommend those, as far as, especially with supplementation, more than I recommend calcium supplementation. So make sure you're also getting in plenty of vitamin D, and if possible, if you have osteoporosis, then vitamin K2 is probably a more important type of supplement you want to be using. So, and finally, don't forget about proteins. Good quality, whatever protein you like, as far as chicken, fish, red meat, whatever you like, make sure you get in a good quality of protein, because your body's going to take the protein and break it down into little amino acids. And the amino acids are a big part of that whole dynamic process of building strong muscles and strong bones. So those are some of the more better quality types of foods you can start to make sure you're adding into your diet. Whether you already have osteoporosis or it's just something you're trying to prevent, those are the best food sources of where you're going to get the best sources of calcium. So once again, if you have any questions about any of this, just feel free to grab them in the office or shoot me an email. Anyways, I hope y'all have a great week and a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.